Hey Brian, how you doing?
Good, Alicia. How are you?
Good, thank you. Thank you for joining me. It's been a little while since we've been here together shooting videos. So
good to be here.
Yes, we're excited to be back. And today we're talking about shocks and struts. So I want you to just kind of tell me the importance of these for both the vehicle and the owner.
Gotcha. So yeah, shocks and struts. Some people have heard the term shocks and struts, talked about that over the years. Maybe you don't know what they're for and what the real general purpose is.
Right.
But they keep the wheels planted on the ground, the wheels and tires planted on the ground firmly, as opposed to a tire. If it didn't have a shock or a strut, it would bounce like a basketball on hard pavement, which, you know, a basketball would bounce, spend a lot of time off the pavement, which doesn't do it any good when you're a tire that you need to be on the pavement to steer, turn, stop, all that good stuff. So the shocks and struts keep the tire planted on the ground and they degrade over time. So, you know, they say in 50,000 miles, there's several million cycles that a shock or strut would have, dampening that bounce. So they're extremely important and they degrade gradually so you don't really feel it.
That's what I was going to ask. So you won't feel your car start to bounce on the road too much unless it gets really bad, right? Would you feel it then?
Yeah, and it actually, when you have one that fails that's completely wiped out, some people may have noticed a car going down the road or down the highway and it hits a bump and you see the tire just bouncing up and down like that. And you're like, oh my gosh, well the driver doesn't necessarily feel as much as everybody else can see.
As much as it looks, right?
You can't feel it because the car's heavy and you just don't feel it all. But you can imagine when you see that thing bouncing off the ground as often as it is, it's not doing a whole lot of good for steering, stopping, or accelerating.
Yeah, absolutely.
So anyway, because there's so many millions of cycles, they do slowly degrade, and it's a really good idea at 100,000 miles or so to replace them, or certainly when there's a sign that they need to be replaced, leakage, failure, bouncing. And then because it was replaced all at once, now you're like, wow, now it drives like a new car.
Okay.
Because
so
it
that's when you
slowly,
start
you
to notice
a
little bit of just the way it feels when you're driving.
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah, it completely renews the ride quality of the car, and it makes it much, much safer.
Okay.
And better for the tires, keeps the tires lasting longer, all that good stuff.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much for telling me a little bit more today about shocks and struts. And if you're watching right now and maybe you think it's time for some new shocks or struts, make sure you're getting in contact with Weber Automotive. You can do so by giving them a call, and also make sure you explore their website, weberautomotive.com. Thank you.
Thanks, Alicia.